Welcome back, Tribe. I have one here titled The Boyfriends of Instagram in one of Chris Williamson's podcasts. That was an interesting topic. I see a lot of that shit today.
Relationships have been infected by social media. The boyfriends of Instagram trend has been around for a while, but has maybe escalated a little bit.
Have you seen, I read an article the other day, it made me want to kill myself. It was about soft launching your boyfriend on Instagram.
Please tell me more.
So it's about telling girls, so this young woman wondering, how should you announce to your followers, not influencers, I'm talking ordinary young women, how should you announce your boyfriend? Should you do a soft launch where it's just his arm? Or should you do a full reveal?
This
But
is crazy.
It's kind of messed up.
Remember, not an influencer, a normal person. She's got a whopping 300 followers. Half of them are probably dudes that smashed. I'm just kidding. But regardless, you're this addicted to social media and it doesn't pay you. If you're an influencer truly and you make money, then yeah, okay, this stuff might make sense for you in context, but you're an everyday regular schmegular person and your woman is behaving like this, it's a complete red flag. You got to dump her. Dude, there are guys that are in relationships like this and they think it's been normalized. They're like, yeah, being a simp and just taking photos of my woman, 5,000 of them until you get the right one. Not that she's trying to make a picture book or anything of your guys' memories together. No, bro, it's to post for other people. I could understand if you think okay, well, she wants to save all her memories and none of this stuff even goes on the internet. Cool. But if she's obsessed with you go out to dinner and she needs that photo of the meal, has to prove to, I don't know, her girlfriends that you're simping hard enough and that she's getting maximum amount of whatever it is, resources and time out of you to compare when the girlies go on dinner and they talk about how much their men are simping for. It's insane. It's insane. Let her get it.
Because
it's disgusting to see.
This is like introducing a brand deal or something.
Yeah.
Literally viewing our partners like products.
Yeah. How does this play in the optics of public life?
Someone said to me the other day, they commented on my Substack article, a relationship is now just a brand collaboration, two personal brands coming together.
Wow, that's good.
And then posting it online.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Soft launching. Well, I've seen people talk about the hard launch, which is just a couple photo that happens out of nowhere. Well,
so you have all of that. You have how do you manage the relationship on social media? But then you also have how social media affects the relationship. So the boyfriends of Instagram thing. It's kind of funny that boyfriends, when you see a guy literally on the floor trying to get a good angle of the girl.
There was I went to Gili T in Bali. It's one of these little islands about 5 years ago. And there's a famous beach club that's got a swing sort of out in the water and it's gorgeous. The sunsets, because it's so close to the equator, the sunsets in the summer at 6:30 p.m. and in the winter at 6 p.m. It's 12 hours of daylight and it just wobbles a little bit like that. And this girl wanted to get a photo of her on the swing, but she wanted to catch the sort of sun bouncing off the top of the water.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, watching this guy, and she was saying, no, you need to get lower. You need to get sort of lower down, closer to the water. And this dude's sort of chest, shoulder, to neck, to face. And by this time, it's the sea. So it's not being gentle with him. So he's trying to take this photo. The phone's out of the water. He's getting splashed. I remember thinking that really better be wifey, because that's a big ask.
Well, also, I just always think, who is it for if your boyfriend is right there? It does get to the point where you're posing in a bikini and your boyfriend's taking the pictures of you. It's is this for Instagram? Because I don't know. It's such a strange thing that's become so normalized.
It's a little bit of an indicator. I mean, unless this is your new album cover or whatever for your slam poetry or some shit that you do, there is a little bit of well, surely the person that you're trying to impress the most is the one that's taking the photo. So what does the photo need to be taken for? Unless it's for his private collection.
But it's become so normalized that when I wrote about boyfriends of Instagram, people were replying oh, but I'm trying to get memories and stuff. And I had a picture.
He's not in it.
Yeah. There was a picture of 3 girls in bikinis and 3 guys all on the same beach, all taking pictures of their girlfriend. And people were defending it oh, they're allowed to have memories. I'm what? A memory of you in a bikini? But I don't think they're lying. I think that's just how normalized it's become. It's well, obviously
if you go to any vacation spots, any high-end places, this is what you'll see. Guys with their cameras following nonstop, bro, always to get the perfect picture. To post to where? If you're making money off this, I understand. Or if you're creating a memory that you're keeping to yourself, fine. But the fact that it's with the explicit intent of sharing with a normal following, friends or family, that your happiness is dependent on the external validation to this extreme where you can't be present in a moment with your partner, guys, that is a red flag. You really have to watch out for this stuff, dude. It'll destroy your relationship. This is a sign of an unstable person. This is the equivalent of a man being addicted to adult entertainment and not being able to stop. It's like his woman walks in on him after they just had sex, walks in on him like jerking another one to an adult video. And it's supposed to be so pervasive in society that that's normal, and she can't question it. If you have to question your woman, you have to draw a line in the sand. If that shit is for her little audience and she derives pleasure and self-esteem from it, you got to nip that in the bud, bro. Hey, if we're going to hang out, if we're going to go on vacations, if anything we do, you must document everything for your audience. You have an issue. You have a mental issue, and we need to work on that, or you're going to have to kick rocks. Can you imagine what moments like, wedding would be if you get married, or honeymoons, or lavish vacations you get to take once every, few years, or God knows what it is. It would be maddening living with someone like that.
Beach, you do a photo shoot. And I always try and express that to people, like, you think of an influencer and how her income depends on taking pictures, and everywhere she goes, she has to get content. Ordinary women think like that now. Most people have it in the back of their mind, I should be getting a social media picture, or this is a good moment, or this landscape would get really good clicks. Like, that's how they think. And I don't think some older people realize that young girls are behaving and thinking like their influencers all the time.
Is that an aspirational thing? Is that just that the power users of Instagram and TikTok behave like that because it's their job, which means that the people who are not, they have none of the same obligations, feel like they should behave in the same way? Or is there something more going on? Is this aspirational? Is this that people hope, maybe I get picked up by a modeling agent?
I think a part of it is that, but I think another part is they started doing this when their brains were forming as young girls. They started capturing their life as they went, and I don't think they can conceive of just living and existing. I really think it's that ingrained of like their entire childhood was having a childhood, but also performing and marketing and managing it all at the same time. And then like when you try and get out of it, like when I deleted Instagram years ago, that lingering was still in my head of like, maybe I should share this online, or maybe this could be a good photo opportunity. And it's really hard to kind of unwire that. And now if I go to an event and I don't take a picture, young women I'm friends with will be kind of confused. Like I say, I've been on holiday and I have no evidence of it. It's confusing to them because
they're suspicious about whether or not you actually went on the holiday.
It's kind of weird. And I think there are genuinely young people who go on holiday to get pictures.
For the photos.
Who even get in relationships for the photos, and who are quietly living their life for Instagram. In ways that people don't realize has become that intense.
What do you make of the contribution of family breakdown to this? Of that, you mentioned before about that sort of lack of guidance, people looking for a little bit of guidance, maybe filling the void with entertainment that typically would have been taken up by family. What role does family breakdown have here?
I think it's linked to what I was saying about, looking for relationship guidance. It's like, you look at something like mental health TikTok. People are sharing like their really deep trauma and turmoil and problems. And you can't help but look at it and think, are you close to your family? Like this is the kind of thing that you talk about with your family. It's what your family is there for. And now you're telling strangers on TikTok. And then you look at the statistics of the amount of Gen Z who aren't living with both their mother and father. I think in the UK, it's over half of children by 14 don't live with their mum and dad. And so they don't have a feeling of belonging at home. And then you stretch that out to they don't have any sense of community. Their community is a Reddit forum or Instagram. Like I, growing up, had no sense of what a local community is, or like neighbors knowing each other. It's really foreign to me. And I think a lot of Gen Z, they don't have a conception of it beyond an online community or like the LGBT community or something. That is the limit of community they know. So their family falls apart. There's nothing really to catch them. There's no neighborhood of adults who are there.
Except nut jobs. If you're in school, a nut job catches you. That's radicalized in their ideology. If you're in college, another nut job, multiple nut jobs, then you're radicalized with your peers at the same time. If you're terminally online, male or woman, you get caught by nut jobs with radical messaging. This is how you go through like that black hole of, this is why they want to censorship so much, to push the narrative in a certain direction. Like the internet today, just literally, especially post-election, but during the Biden era, when they were censoring shit hard as fuck, especially post-pandemic, dude, you couldn't get a word in on absolutely anything without getting banned immediately, suppressed, or shadowed, including on YouTube. Now what you can say, a lot has changed because they pushed too hard, too quickly, and they were censoring truth. That was the issue. You could say like some inflammatory posts, like calling for riots or violence or, hating a group, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Sure, you can make that case. Okay, cool. But now we've peeled all of that back to the point where it's like free speech is free speech as long as you're not violating laws like inciting riots and stuff like that. But even the smallest things like misgendering somebody would have been considered as hate speech and got you banned. That's how crazy it was. I remember this channel got strikes for mentioning the jab. And another channel got completely wiped after mentioning that the Pfizer CEO, I'll never forget this, simply reporting that the Pfizer CEO did not get, you can Google this, I'm sure it's still news. The Pfizer CEO was denied boarding a plane, I believe, to go to vacation because he was not jabbed yet. He didn't have credentials to go fly while everybody was panicking trying to get the jab. You could Google that. So now the online discourse has changed completely where people are able to speak more freely thanks to Elon buying X, had like a domino effect on top of Trump winning, another domino effect. And like woke is like everything woke turns to shit. And then like the pendulum swinging back like tremendously from leftism in general, more towards the center. It's still not anywhere near where it should be, but you don't hear all the crazy like, LGBTQ, trans, crazy ass shit that you used to hear. Just a few years ago, we were being inundated with that shit, dude. Non-stop neo pronouns and he, it, that, like all the kit itself, all that stuff. So now the kids are starting to have like at least seeing open discourse, but the same problem persists. You get put down a rabbit hole that confirms your bias, that turns you radical, and it could be for anything. We need to have a conversation about what we allow our young kids to be consuming today, because they'll turn out into women that are addicted to social media in the sense of pretending to be an influencer, or their lives being lived like influencers where they constantly record everything and have to soft launch a boyfriend. And what does that do to relationship dynamics? And, men have their own issues on the other side, but imagine what the world will look like 20 more years from now. Would we have a full generation that grew up and are now adults in this kind of world with tablets, screens, and social media in their face non-stop? I think all the graphs from marriage decline, just sharp drop off. Cheating, sexually transmitted diseases and all that shit, and body counts and hypersexualization, I think will go up dramatically. They do say that this younger generation is more conservative and are having a little less sex, but I don't think that's all of society. I think the world as a whole is going up on a mean uptick. And you can tell because by 2045, they said 50% of women, I can't remember what the stat was, will be single with no man. And I think those numbers will shoot up dramatically, 60, 70%. I think the Pareto principle will hit in real life that 80% of women within the next 30, 40 years, 80% of women will be single without a man. I think those numbers are going to skyrocket because Japan's already ahead of us and they have herbivore men and they're engaging in, it's prostitution's legal there, and it's seen differently, but herbivore men that are checking out, I think a majority of the men are just going to be priced out of the market due to economic factors, especially, but not discounting the huge impact social media has of making everybody completely delusional and detached from reality, amongst all the other problems we're having. But hey, let's not beat a dead horse here.
Then you add that they're becoming less religious, so they don't feel that they belong to anything bigger than that. They have no faith in anything bigger. And so the feeling of loneliness is just so intense. And I was writing recently about how I think that actually one of the biggest drivers of behavior we see among Gen Z is this abandonment fear and feeling, because their families fell apart, because they don't have community, because they don't belong to anything bigger. they feel constantly alone. And if you look at the kind of symptoms of abandonment, if you look at like attachment theory, like real attachment theory, not the TikToks, but the like Mary Ainsworth studies and everything, it shows like people who are abandoned, they're really hypersensitive to criticism. They have very low body image and self-esteem. All of the kind of caricature of Gen Z, all of the traits are like to do with this feeling of not belonging anywhere. So not to say that it explains everything, but I think families breaking down and not having a sense of belonging really messes people up. And I think a lot of Gen Z are kind of carrying that around and then looking for it in places. So that obviously they're going to spend hours on TikTok where people are talking to them and talking about their problems because they don't have anything resembling that in real life. And so, yeah, I think a lot of the things we kind of laugh at young people for as being kind of narcissistic and I guess selfish, and kind of we cringe at them having these crazy screen times. It's like, what else is there?
In other news, this episode is brought to you by...
Let's see what some of the comments say. Who is it for if your boyfriend's right there? Exactly. This lady spot on. Every girl on Instagram thinks they're an influencer. It's sick, actually. The older I get, the more I see social media as a stain on our society. I have a small resort hotel in Oaxaca, Mexico. Our restaurant has an iconic sunset ocean view. Oh, man, that's got to be the worst of the worst. The majority of young women who come into the restaurant spend an entire meal doing an Instagram photo shoot. They don't actually eat, drink, or socialize. They just sit there and take hundreds of selfies in various ridiculous poses. Anti-social media. This guy says anti. Oh, because he's anti. Okay. Social media has destroyed the soul of younger generations. I agree. I was in the talking stage with a girl like 8 years ago. When she insisted that I take 35 pictures of her alone, I realized it wasn't happening. Sheesh. Then I met a girl with no social media. We've been married for 2 years. The picture of themselves is more important than their boyfriend. Yep. This is why dating someone with a huge Instagram is a big red flag. Agreed. Narcissism, entitlement, shallowness, you name it. Social media has ruined relationships. My ex wanted me to join Facebook just so she could put in a relationship and tag me in it. Once I realized she wasn't truly engaged in the relationship and was doing certain things for likes, I had to end it. There you go. Massive red flag. You see, narcissism in young women is out of control and demands societal attention. Yep. This guy says social media is one of the worst things that has happened to humanity. Golly. Do not date any woman that lives on Instagram and needs a photo producer. Casual interest in scrolling is okay. Yep. Damn. Oh, this is a good one. This one here says, where was it? Social media has destroyed young women and girls' perspectives of the world. Oh, here we go. This is the one. I recently went through my old photos a few years after a divorce. Listen to this. And I realized I'm not in any of them. Now it makes sense that I am not part of the family. I never was. Only a stepping stone. She's Louise. This one also makes sense too. I agree with this. I think using the term single parent household underrepresents the damaging effects of divorce. The term one has replaced is broken home. Broken home used to be the default term. Now everybody and their ex rationalize and downplay the destructiveness. I agree. Dude, it's very slick how they morph these words that used to be broken home into single parent household just to get you to accept it on a subconscious level as if there's not a huge resounding problem that nobody's really beating the drums on. And it's really single mother households. Broken homes, single mother, broken homes. That's what they are, because a single father broken homes have just as well of a outcome-wise, So the outcomes for the kids in a single father home are the same as the outcomes or very similar to dual parent households, but it's only single mother broken homes that produce broken children at insane rates. Not all, but a lot come from there. It's almost always a single mother. Not all, but almost always single mother homes produce worse outcomes for children. It's in the statistics. Adult entertainment and masturbation ruined men. Social media ruined women. Yeah, I'm okay with pictures as long as they're for you guys. And of course that you're in a lot of them. Or maybe she's, saving them and creating like a little scrapbook, memory book, stuff like that for you guys to have. But if you have to say weird shit like soft launching my boyfriend and how do I get the girlies to approve and all this, get rid of her, dude. You are wasting your time, your energy, and your money. That is a complete leech. You fall last on the list of who she cares about, whose opinion matters, and who she respects. That's crazy. Anyways, we'll see you boys on the next one. Take care, everybody.